This week on Investigation Nation, we're following the latest unfolding around David Anthony Burke, the indie pop singer known as David, accused of killing 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Her body was discovered in the singer's Tesla last fall. A preliminary hearing is now underway to decide whether or not he'll stand trial. NewsNation correspondent Nancy Liu breaking down the key moments of this hearing, but we do want to warn you that the case contains graphic content depicting a violent assault that some viewers may find disturbing.
A gruesome and shocking day in court with extensive details about the murder of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. In particular, key information about the dismemberment of her body and how she may have been killed, and then graphic testimony about her sexual relationship with David Burke. Deputy Medical Examiner Dr. Grant Ho testified that it typically takes power tools to cut through bone, and the body of Hernandez was dismembered in multiple places at both upper arms, below both thighs, and at the knees. There was palpable discomfort in court as graphic autopsy images were shown, especially of her amputated left hand with the left ring and pinky fingers amputated. The doctor noted a missing left eye and liquidation of soft tissue, along with 2 areas on the decomposed torso, which appears to be penetrating wounds, compatible with sharp force injury. The court also heard from the lead LAPD detective on the murder case, and he outlined the illicit relationship between the teen and David Burke, with the prosecution continually highlighting that Hernandez was just 13 years old. For much of the afternoon, testimony focused on pornographic images on David's phone, which were not displayed in court due to child pornography restrictions. The prosecution also went through dozens and dozens of text conversations between the two, many of them sexually explicit, revealing the teen became pregnant and then had an abortion. By March of last year, the couple seems to have broken up, with Hernandez texting to David, "All we do is have sex and just hang out, man. I want more than that for myself. Without a label, too, is insane." The detective is back on the stand Monday, so this hearing is going beyond original intentions, but the judge is expected to rule quickly on whether there will be a trial. In Los Angeles, Nancy Liu, NewsNation.
All right, so it's a difficult story. Here with us now to break it down is the retired LAPD detective and private investigator, Moses Castillo. I want to thank you very much for being here. I know that you also attended this hearing this week, so you bring us important perspective on this. And listen, all murder cases are devastating. We know this. But yes, these details are especially gruesome. And you just think about, you know, she looks so much older in some of her pictures, but we're reminded she was 14, got involved with this guy much earlier than that. For viewers that are new to this case, what for you as an investigator were the most significant takeaways to come out of this week's preliminary hearing?
I think for me is the fact that this is actually a real life experience that Celeste went through. She lived through a horrible, torturous, violent crime that took her life, and it was something that could have been prevented.
You know, we know it took some time for the medical examiner to announce the cause and manner of death. Prosecutors say they did find blood in the garage of Burke's Hollywood home that matched the victim's DNA. If anybody has watched and followed this case, remember when, you know, the Tesla was discovered, and once they got into the trunk, I mean, it was awful. But is that alone, the blood in the garage, enough to ensure a trial? I mean, what are some of the, there's a lot more that's going to go into this of prosecutors trying to get a trial.
Well, as you heard, the detective testified that there was video and images that he took of them engaging in sex. I haven't heard any inside knowledge, but I wouldn't be surprised at some point if video is discovered that he actually videotaped him committing this murder.
Wow. I mean, that would be something. And then, of course, we've got this whole business with the text messages that were reviewed in court yesterday. And I know that this was really hard for the victim's family to listen to some of it. I understand that I think that they had to leave at some point. The victim was previously pregnant when she was just 13 years old. And David urged her to get an abortion. So in terms of that part, I mean, it all plays into the case against him, but how could that revelation impact the trial and the prosecution's layout of a history of abuse of this child?
Well, that fact alone proves the elements of 288, lewd acts upon a child under the age of 14. But I'm also troubled. I want to learn, well, where was this abortion? And did mandated reporters fail to act and report this? Because when a 13-year-old shows up for an abortion, obviously it's not something that's it's legal. It's actually very concerning.
Yeah, and prosecutors also, everybody wants to know what the motive was. The prosecutors have heavily focused on the alleged financial motive. So tell us what you heard about in court this week about that, or what you know on background about this theory, financial motive, and how central it is in this case, because it's my understanding that he was set to earn a lot of money, and if anybody found out about this young girl that he was involved with, he was worried about it, and maybe that could be the reason for the allegations.
Yeah, based on what I heard and based on what I've been following up on this story, I do believe that the main motive is to silence her. And I find it very interesting that in the autopsy photos that were shown, the only finger that still remained was the one that had the tattoos of SHHH, which is shh. And I think he left it there to show now you're permanently shh forever. And you're not going to be able to say anything about this. So I think that's very troubling. But the motive is obviously he didn't want to get exposed publicly and lose his career. But I think hopefully I believe there are other victims out there that are afraid to come forward. And I'm hoping that somehow they get the courage to come forward, because you've seen images of David hanging out with other females, because that was the gist of Celeste being angry that he's with other girls. Right.
I mean, and very young girls. And the defense team also pressed witnesses on every step of how evidence was collected in that process, trying to show that somehow there was a mismanaged crime scene, and obviously it was a messy one. You know, how much could any concerns over crime scene handling play into this with where we are in this case and what is happening with the Tesla and how she was found? Was the crime scene mishandled from what you have heard?
Not at all. I think this investigation was done properly, very tenacious, very detailed, attention to the smallest detail. And that's why they found all these evidence of the blood, where David maybe thought that he cleaned up the crime scene really well. And I think that's why it took some time to analyze all the evidence and to make sure everything was done properly. And here we are. I think he's done. I think he's going to be locked up forever, and I hope that's the case.
All right. Well, we heard about the defense strategy points and the graphic medical examiner testimony. And as Nancy Liu just reported, there's more to go. I'm sure you'll be there, too. Retired LAPD Detective Moses Castillo, thank you very much for being here on the program and with Investigation Nation. We appreciate it. And fans in Philadelphia, we're going to switch gears, hard gears.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.